Hello and welcome to another edition of This. This time we're going to look at this. In favour of more and better aid, or just stop doing harm. Main points. We give less aid to developing countries than most people think. Any poverty we have here is tiny compared to what exists in the developing world. We should be helping out people less fortunate. Rich countries have gained materially by plundering poor countries for cheap resources and labour. We've torn apart these places through colonisation and neo-colonialist economic domination. We owe it to these people to help them. Certainly, we should tax the rich to pay for development aid, and we should cut down on military and other unhelpful spending. 0.7% is a very small amount. We promised it a long time ago. We should honour this promise. A lot of aid that we send is not development aid but military aid to dubious regimes. We should make sure we're sending help that is actually help and that helps the poor. A lot of so-called development aid budget is spent on unhelpful things like coercing other countries into privatisation deals, which are a rip-off for those countries, while Western corporations reap the easy profits. And they are easy because they get a captive market, for example, often resulting in increasing water prices by 200 or 300%, throwing locals into poverty and disease. So for all these reasons, we need more and better aid, as called for in the Make Poverty History campaign of 2005. However, aid is not the most important aspect. We don't have to help, we could just stop harming developing countries. They'd develop just fine on their own over about 20 years or so if we stopped exploiting them. Aid would be nice, allowing them better access to our markets for their exports would be helpful. More helpful still would be allowing them to protect their infant industries while they develop. Absolutely vital is to stop bleeding these countries dry by demanding payments for dubious debts which they supposedly owe us. Also, to stop insisting on imposing limits on the policies which governments are allowed to enact in terms of running their own economies and asserting their economic rights internationally. In the past, we have sabotaged or overthrown democratic governments that wanted to promote development for the people, because we preferred to keep those countries easily exploitable. We need to make sure this doesn't happen again. The presence of US military bases constitutes a threat that this might happen again. It is the threat or reality of this kind of sabotage of democracy that maintains a position of disparity between the rich countries and their elites, on the one hand, and the poor countries, on the other, exploited by the rich world corporations. Thus, we are taking far more from them than they are getting in return, and that is what's keeping them poor. One way they can gain enormously from us is from technology transfer. They're quite good at helping themselves. All we need to do is to let them use our technologies without enforcing our intellectual property rights with an iron fist. If we are going to give aid, then it should be listening based. Go in and see what ordinary people are already trying to do and what they want help with. Listen and listen and listen before saying anything, and not go in and impose what we think they need or what we want them to do for our own gain.